Greetings. Welcome to the Inspirational Talk podcast with your creator and your host, Timothy Robinson. We're back again. Hope all is well. I hope you've been having a very safe and productive week. I hope your families are good. I hope that your loved ones and the people that's around you is good as well. Okay? Let's recap. On last week episode, we talked about anger, and I had several comments dealing with that episode, and people was chiming in, and some of the comments someone made was, I like giving my opinion. That was very funny. That was very funny, and thank you for the comments, thank you for the love and the support, and thank you for the personal comments that you've been emailing me and texting me about the personal comments too as well. So last week episode was a bit touching, a little bit. We talked about the different shapes of our personality, and we talked about how anger really can have a toll on us if we don't watch and if we don't respect the way that we move about in our daily lives. And so anger was very important, and it's very important to be able to take care of yourself emotionally, because in taking care of yourself emotionally, that also goes to the physical part of you as well. And so it's very important to take care of yourself emotionally. And if you take care of yourself first, everybody around you will be safe. Okay? Everybody around you will be safe. Once again, we are soliciting ads, and your donation and your support to support the podcast is greatly needed. And we are getting the information out to certain sponsors so we can be able to target them and ask them to be able to help the podcast and help with their donations too as well. The calls and the emails are very important. Calls and the emails are very important. Like I said, we still on the ground phase of this thing, and your calls and your emails about certain topics that you want to talk about, it's very important. It's greatly needed. Greatly needed. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness. Today we're going to talk about forgiveness. Forgiveness is very sensitive to people, and because forgiveness takes discipline. It takes discipline, and when it comes to today's society, don't no one wants to feel like that they've been taken advantage of, and then they have to come in some situations and want to be able to have the conversation again, to spark up the conversation again, and that is totally uncomfortable to quite a few people. So people shy away from forgiveness because forgiveness seems like that you're being vulnerable and don't no one respect how you feel about certain situations. And so the meaning of forgiveness: a intentional decision to let go of resentment or anger. A intentional decision to let go of resentment or anger. When someone did you wrong, it's kind of hard to go back and revisit that, not only with yourself, go back and revisit it with the person that you think that's done you wrong. And so in order to work forgiveness into you, you have to spend some time with yourself. You have to spend some time with yourself to be able to do that. And to let go, we as a people like to hold on to stuff. We like to hold on to different offenses and things that did us wrong, and people that did us wrong. And so it's difficult for us to process that in our emotional psyche, right? It's different. It's different for us to be able to do that. I mean, it's difficult for us to be able to do that at times. Letting go of bitterness and grudges. Letting go of bitterness and grudges. Why you gotta let it go, Tim? You gotta let it go because we're trying to be the best individuals that we can possibly be. We have to let it go because we are trying to be the best individuals that we can possibly be. And so, if we hold on to it, it will stunt our growth. It will stunt our growth. That's like me, I'm 53 years old, and something happened to me when I was 19. So, and we get here in today's society, and somebody bring up a topic like that around me, you can see exactly where I was hurt at. And if I hadn't did the work within myself to be able to digest that and to be able to have the conversation with the individual, if time or the space can permit it, have the conversation. But if I can't, I have to be able to, forgive the situation and go on with my daily life, right? Our daily lives, right? Because if you don't do it, it can weigh you down. If we don't let it go, it can weigh you down. And so, my goal was to be the best man that I can possibly be and live free in doing that. Of course, with balance. But if I'm holding on to something that I've been dealing with and don't have it resolved in me, how can I do it? How can I do it? That's like me fighting against myself. I can't do that. Oh, I can do it, but it'll cause me a lot of stress, cause me a lot of personal setbacks, If you don't let go of bitterness and grudges, it would forever would be a stronghold in your life. If we don't let go of bitterness and grudges, it will forever be a stronghold in our life. And I'm the type of person that moving forward is very important to me. I don't say move on because I feel like moving on is, me personally, that's a quirky saying. Moving on is like it's some unresolved business, and I'm going to put a pin in it and forget about it. I'm going to move on. So I always try to say move forward. But if we don't take care of the business at hand when we're talking about forgiveness and holding grudges, we can't move forward. But if we do and not take care of it, it's like that you dragging something emotionally with you. We're not talking about being a fool when it comes to life and being pushovers. We're not talking about that. We're talking about living and being the best individuals that we can possibly be. Now, if somebody want to have a conversation with you and say, and y'all resolve those issues then, and, you get a chance to say, if somebody asks for your forgiveness and you say, hey, I forgive you, that's not being weak. That's not being taken advantage of. That shows a sign of maturity when you're able to do that. It shows a sign of maturity, and it shows a sign of that you are trying to be the best individual that you can possibly be. Don't look at it as being a pushover. Don't look at it as being a pushover. Excuse me. We are not talking about not forgetting the offense. It's this saying, excuse me, it's the saying, I forgive you, but I don't forget. Okay. Of course you're not going to forget it. So we're not talking about forgetting the offense. We're talking about growing and learning from it. So whoever put that thing in there, forgive and forget, forgive and forget, of course, I don't forget it, but I will forgive you. But then afterwards, after we had a conversation, if we get a chance to have a conversation, I know how to move around you. I know how to keep a respectful and healthy distance around you. Excuse me. No, we're not talking about forgetting the offense because things in life are, life is a teachable moment. Life itself teaches you. The next thing, people will change the transmission in your car. Let me say that again. People will change the transmission in your car versus asking you, could you please forgive me? You ever been around those people? You know, they want to make, you know, they got all the niceties going on. And you know that y'all been through some stuff that's not resolved. But yet and still they'll bake you a cake. They'll change the transmission in your car. And some people, they'll build you a whole nother house. And the cheapest thing and the easiest thing and the easiest way to do it is just ask for forgiveness. But people will do that. Excuse me. Some people don't think enough of you to offer up an apology. Some people don't think enough of you. Now this is sad, but it's the way the world works. Some people, if y'all have differences, they don't think enough of you to offer up an apology. They'll keep on with their life. Keep on keeping on. And whatever was did and said or done, it was did and said or done. And they gone on with their life. So don't get taken back. Don't have your emotions all in the wad, because of that. Some people are just, they not wired as being, what's the word, apologetic. They not wired like that. And so it's very important to know the people that you are around and know the ones that you can engage in when it comes to detailed conversation or spending your time with. And those are the ones that just deserve a hi, hello, how you doing? How your family doing? Hope all is well with you. Talk to you later. One of the people that I admire is Nelson Mandela. The first time when I started really getting into reading different people and being able to study them, Nelson Mandela always have captured my attention. And I was fascinated by, how can someone spend almost 28 years locked up in prison and do what he do and the type of person that he is. And the first autobiography that I ever read, I picked it up on vacation in the Virgin Islands. It was A Long Walk to Freedom, Nelson Mandela. And he explained in detail, I think a reporter had asked him at this particular time, and he explained it in detail. The reporter said they heard that the prison guards had made your time while you was in prison very hard. They did some awful things to you. And Mr. Mandela responded, he said, yes, that happened. And the reporter asked him, well, how do you move on from that? And Mr. Mandela said, the moment they let me out, when I walked past them gates, I forgave them. I didn't hold no ill feelings or no grudges against them. And at that time, people were curious. Well, why didn't you? Because they did some god-awful things to you. And Mr. Mandela responded, if I still would have held grudges against them for what they did to me, that means they still have me mentally and spiritually like they wanted to. And I want to be able to free myself, not just physically, spiritually and emotionally. And when he said that was interesting, that was eye-opening for me too as well. Some people that you run to in life, they're very prideful and they stubborn. You know, you're gonna walk and you're gonna see people like that throughout your life. And if you're looking for an apology, or if you're looking for to have their detailed conversation so y'all can get to the point where if you offended them or they offended you, you can be able to ask for forgiveness, or they can be able to ask for forgiveness. But in a lot of cases, that would never happen, because you have people that's walking around in society are very prideful and very stubborn, and they do not think that quite a few times, number one, they think enough for you to give you an apology. And to them, they very seldom make mistakes. And some of them think, like I said, they don't think enough of you to give you an apology. And that, to me, has something to do with respect. And if they're not respecting you like that, then you know what? I really don't want an apology from them. You know, I understand how they move. I understand how they are. And I keep on with my life. In doing this forgiveness thing, it's very important at this stage in your life, when you're thinking about forgiveness, when you are studying on forgiveness in yourself and things of that nature, you can be completely selfish when it comes to that forgiveness. Because forgiveness works a part in you. It's not the actual act, people. It works a part in you. And if you need to do that type of work to get where you want to get in life and to be able to live the fullness of life, yes, be completely selfish with your life and say, you know what? This offense was done to me, but I need to revisit this offense and see how the individual feels. And if the individual offers me up an apology, and I can say, I forgive you. That's not showing sign of weakness. I want to be free from this act. Okay? I want to be free of it. Because my future is bright. And I'm not going to let this hold me down in no shape or form or fashion. I want to be free from this. I mean, you don't literally have to tell them that. But this is the work that you're doing in the privacy of your home. If the person asks you, can you please forgive me? Yeah, I forgive you. But now I know how to distance myself, and I know how to move so we won't have an issue like that again. Because I'm trying to live the best life that I can possibly live. And I do not want to revisit this act again, because I've learned so much from it. Forgiveness is not weak. It takes courage to face and overcome powerful emotions. It's a quote from Bishop Desmond Tutu. It takes courage to face that. Like I said in the first episode, the topics that we're going to talk about, they are not popular, but they're necessary. And that's one thing that I said, that this is not a fly-by-night podcast, because the people's on this platform, ear that these topics grab, they're getting curious. Because what we doing is we feeding people. We feed them with the right stuff. And we feed them with the truth. It's not my job to stand guard of the truth. It's not my job to protect the truth. It's my job to show it to you. Because people know right from wrong. They do. People know right from wrong. And I totally understand that. Okay, Tim, you always have a deep and emotional meaning behind what you talk about. You do. So where's this coming from? This is coming from me. I have reached a point in time in my life. I remember when I was a very young man. Uh, Quite a few things that was going on. I want to know the reason why. When I was very young, I asked God for understanding of who I am, which direction I'm going, what do I need to do. Because you have to understand when it comes to life, people, at least about 40% of the choices was made before you even knew who you were. What you talking about, Tim? Did you have a choice of what time you was born? Did you have a choice of your parents that you were born to? Did you have a choice of your social security number? Did you have a choice of your skin color? Those choices was made for you. And so with that being said, when I was very young, I asked God for understanding. Understanding, like I said a minute ago, who I am. What do I need to do? Why I feel the way I feel? And which direction I need to go. And I had to revisit when I was a younger man, and had a family and wanted to know the cause and effect of the way I am, why I act the way I act. I had to reach out and I had to forgive my father. That's correct. I had to forgive my father because it was some unfinished business that I felt that I need to do. I need to have that conversation because you have to understand, this thing in life is already pretty much set up for you. Because I can remember even back at an early teenager, all the pain that I can identify with at the time came from the hands of a black man. All of it. So I didn't trust a black man. I didn't understand. And unconsciously I held some resentment for that. But see, you got to understand, a lot of times, your blessings are on the other side of your pain. But you got to have an open heart. You got to have an open mind to be able to receive this like this. Because in meeting my father and having to sit down in discussion with him, I can remember the time where I was getting ready to fly out to go and spend some time with him. And I had a conversation with my pastor back in Memphis. And he looked at me and told me, he said, whatever go on, Timmy, whatever you guys talk about, whatever y'all do, do me a favor. And I said, what is that? You're going to have to forgive him. I was like, yeah, whatever. Didn't think nothing of it. So, flew out and picked me up at the airport. And I started feeling a lot of weird emotions, weird feelings. And I can remember my wife at the time had told me, she said, look, you got the type of plane ticket where you can turn around at any time and come back home. And I said, okay. So I started feeling these weird emotions, these weird feelings. But then a little voice in my head was telling me to be patient. Stick it through. Stick it out. Stick it out. And we got to a time where we started having meaningful conversations. He started to share some things with me. And I started to share some things to him about how I felt. And ending up in that thing, having a beautiful friendship. We was very close. And it happened 2 years right before he passed. I like to think the Lord did it just for me. I do. I believe that. And in doing that, I got a chance to later on got introduced to a whole side of my life that I didn't know about, and knowing his family. Meeting, my brothers and sisters for the first time. And I have a sister in Oklahoma City. Brother too. Just plays a very intricate role in my life right now. I love all my family members. I do. But my big sister that we talk on a frequent basis with, when we talk on a frequent basis, is very, play a very big role in my life. And think, if I wouldn't have did that off an act of faith, I would have never been able to experience that I need in my life today. Because I did it off an act of faith. I did it. And think about it. I told you a minute ago, a lot of the pain that I identified came from the hands of a black man. Who was my mentor going up through that course? My pastor, black man. I like to think God did it just for me. So this forgiveness thing, like I said, the last episode, these things that I talk about, it had to convict me first. Because I want to live the fullness of life. And in order to do that, some things, people, we got to let go of. We got to forgive. Because ain't nobody perfect. I'm not perfect. Occasionally, I have to go back and say, hey, I apologize for that. I said something that I ain't had no business saying, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to this thing called life, people, I'm always a student in it. Always. And the life that I have now if it wasn't for forgiveness and me having an open heart and an open mind and listening, these people that helped me be the man that I am today, quite a few of them wouldn't be here. So, had a beautiful friendship with my father. And he passed 2 years later. And I like to think God did it just, well, I know he did, just for me. When you forgive, you heal. When you let go, you grow. When you forgive, you heal. When you let go, you grow. A lot of things that go on in life, people, you have to let it go. When you forgive, you heal. When you let go, you grow. Anger makes you small, while forgiveness forces you to grow beyond who you are. Anger makes you small. Anybody can get angry and create distance and go about their business. Forgiveness forces you, because I could imagine living the life that I'm living physically, but the wholeness that comes with it, the peace and the understanding that comes with it, it's incredible for me. And for me to have an opportunity to be able to do it on such a platform as this, it's major for me. It's major for me. Forever grateful. I'm humbled by this. You know, we talking about forgiving other people. And it's what we have to start doing, is doing the work for ourselves. But another thing that we have to do, that it requires you to spend some time with yourself. But it's forgiving yourself for whatever you've been through, for whatever happened. We have to be able to forgive ourselves. Somewhere I heard that it's easy to go into the Bible and believe all the wonderful things God did for all the people in the Bible. It's easy for a man to do that, read that and do that and say, I believe that. But the hardest thing in the world for a man to do, or to see, is, will he do it for me? That's the hardest thing in the world for a man to believe. And he will. But in doing that, you have to be able to forgive yourself. Because a lot of times, you ask him for forgiveness, he forgave you. But we still hold it over us unconsciously, feeling shame, feeling guilty about it for whatever reason. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. It's an attribute of strong. You have to try not to look at this life through your lens and your lens only. It takes a lot to do what we do. And what I mean by that is, you affect a lot of people out there in the world. When you walk through your daily lives, you affect a lot of people. Can you imagine the risk that I'm taking on this platform? It's huge. So we have to do that work. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. Forgiveness is unlocking the door to set someone free and realizing you was a prisoner. Wow. Forgiveness is unlocking the door to set someone free and realizing that you was a prisoner that needed to be set free. Have a talk with yourself. Spend some time with yourself. Be the subject matter expert at you. Be the subject matter expert at you. Because a lot of times what we do is we go through life and we drink this poison in life. All these emotions, we drink this poison and hoping that it affects somebody else. But we drink it. No. Let it go. Spend some time with yourself. Do that work. We're going to be better as a people. We're going to be better as individuals. Spend some time with yourself. Do that work. Once again, if you have any questions or concerns, please email me. And you will see it on the bottom ticker, the places where you can donate. And you will have my information on the bottom ticker and at the end of the episode to be able to donate. And please support the podcast for our sake. So with that being said, always remember, if I can do it, you can do it. Thank you.